Production of KMmedia.pro. Welcome back to Positive Talk Radio. Our goal is simple: to explore evolving ideas one conversation at a time. So come on over into our world. I know you'll like it, because on today's show is 6 months in the making, maybe even longer than that. We have a young lady who's a very, very good friend of the show. She's been on several times, and her name is Dana Parker, and she's a life coach, and she's got a brand new program that we're going to talk about here in a couple of moments. But first, I have to talk to my friend Nathan. Nathan, I heard something about 77 degrees. When is that and where?
I guess we've been fooled, Kevin. You know, we were just saying the other week that seems like we just went through our last days of summer, and suddenly it's back. I don't know what's going on. Got a little Indian summer going on, and yeah, we're going to be seeing highs in the mid-70s and just clear, beautiful skies out there. And I'm looking over those Olympics and seeing them bright and clear over that Seattle skyline.
You know, if you never have been to the studios at KKNW, you really should go. So maybe what you should do, I know somebody who works there and has the ability to, like, I don't know, have you on his show, and you can go to the studio, and it's on the 5th floor of a beautiful building. You get the view of Seattle and Bellevue and the Olympics, and it really is a cool experience. And Nathan, I know him personally, and he is there all the time on Fridays at noon.
I've seen a lot of really cool things. One time I saw, you know, when the clouds open up and they shine some rays of sunshine through, kind of like an angelic light onto the earth. Well, I've seen that happen one time where it was just like a spotlight over Seattle. And then back when we had the really bad smoke, I mean, as bad as it was still really cool to see the sun turn purple and everything like that. And lots of cool views you can get out of here.
Yeah, and occasionally you'll see maybe a bald eagle or maybe a hawk or a couple of hawks, and it's just a beautiful experience if you can do it.
Definitely come down.
Yes, indeed. And by the way, you're listening to Positive Talk Radio. We are on the air Friday at noon, and then also Friday at 3 o'clock on Kixie, 8:80 a.m. I got a great show for you there. We have a terrific author that we're going to be talking to. And you can also catch us on Monday at 3, Wednesday at 4 on KKNW, and of course, right here with Nathan. We're here every Friday, so it's exciting to be here again, Nathan. And I got to tell you, I had to track this person down because she is so incredibly busy with her coaching business that sometimes I get lost in the shuffle. I don't know why. But she's a remarkable young lady. Her name is Dana Parker. Dana, how are you?
Hi. I'm so good, Kevin. This is just making my week, being able to be on with you again. And there's just something magical about you and the space that you create. It's just so fun. It livens me up.
Well, I'm so glad, because you are pretty alive all by yourself.
It's true. That is true.
Quite frankly, because you are, let's go back in the mists of time, because I met you almost 2 years. Well, no, it has been 2 years.
Wow.
It's been 2 years ago, and I know. And Inner World Movement was your website, and you were starting your coaching career, and you were doing all kinds of cool stuff. And as will happen, which we're going to talk about a little bit today, as will happen as you continue to evolve, things change, and people come and people go.
Yeah.
And because you're vibrating at the level that you're vibrating at, some people just can't hang with you.
Yeah, it's true. It's part of the business. And some days that's hard, and some days it's like, okay, it is what it is.
It is, you know. And I have a quick story. Can I tell you this quick story?
Yeah.
Way back when, sometimes you don't catch it until it's like years later. But when I first started looking at a different way of being, and I discovered that why am I was asking the questions, why am I really here and what am I really here to do? And a
Mhm.
guy came into my life who I did not know. He was the boyfriend of a really good friend who had just gotten a divorce, which we're also going to talk about today.
Yeah.
And and so we were sitting there and having a conversation, and they looked at each other and said, we've been talking about the same things. He
Mm.
is responsible solely and completely for me getting on the radio.
Wow.
And because he said, hey, we need to do a TV show and talk about all we're doing. And couldn't do that, but we could do radio. And so we
Mm.
started doing the show. And then as things will happen, we
Mhm.
faded away from each other. But I was smitten with the art form of doing radio. And so I truly believe, and I love since you're an intuitive sort as well,
It's true.
I
Very
would
true.
I would love your opinion. I think that he was part of the grand plan, and
Yeah.
it wasn't that he was to stick around and that we were going to be like Jerry Lewis and Martin or
Right.
Abbott and Costello or any of those. He was there specifically to
Mhm.
motivate me to do this because I never would have thought about it, Dan. I never
Mhm.
would have even crossed my mind, and
Yeah.
so. Yeah, and I haven't talked to him in 20 years.
Oh,
He
wow.
he came in, he
Yep.
said, "Let's." We did it.
Did his
He left,
duty.
and
Yep.
it's been 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah. It's incredible when people like that come into our lives and spark that or ignite that dream or desire within us, bring forth parts of us that we didn't even know we could have or express or do. And I think those are what in the intuitive world we'd call soul contracts. And oftentimes we can misinterpret those. I know I have before when people have come into my life and I think, oh, we're gonna really create something so cool, and this is gonna be something for years to come, and then it changes, and I have to remember it's my cute little human brain that's like wanting to make it something that maybe it's not, and so that openness to, you know what, I'm going to let this be and I'm going to just experience it. I'm going to enjoy the ride and I'm just going to see and I'm going to feel into it. And for me in particular, the personality type that I am, my human design, my astrology, all of that, it really I'm a here moment to moment type person. Some people like projectors, that's a human design type, they can see the big picture and vision of their life. But yeah, with the personality type, it's like I have to go with the flow and I have to feel moment by moment. And people come in and out of my life. And my favorite kind, Kevin, my favorite kind of people are people that when they flow out of my life, the moment we have a time where we can meet together back again, it's like we just pick up where we left off. Like nothing, no time has passed. Those are my favorite type of friendships.
And I feel that way about you.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. Just pick right up.
And it's like we talked yesterday.
Yeah.
And we
Yes.
quite literally haven't talked in 6 months.
It's true. It's true.
But because of the person that you are and how loving and accepting and how warm and how honest you are, it really is it's a cool opportunity to work with somebody like you because you're very, very bright, you're very intuitive,
Thank you.
and you're continuing on your path, and
Yeah.
you're learning each
Oh,
step that you
so
take
much.
is part of your learning process. And
Yeah.
the reason I bring that up is because I think that we all have that opportunity, and a lot of us don't act on it, or they walk away from it, or we're not prepared to. You got to let people be people. And
Yeah.
if it's time for them to come into your life
Mhm.
and then it's time for them to leave, you just bless them and let them go.
It's true. Keep your lessons. I mean, this is so actually foundational to what I feel like this new program is about. Because people are going to come in and flow out of your life. There's a high percentage of people that experience divorce in this world. There is. And this relates so much to what we're talking about and what I'm creating. And that process is so complex because it gets so emotional because they're our closest, most intimate relationships. And so, but really in those relationships, in those moments where that uncoupling happens or the breakup happens, that's where there's gold. There's gold to be mined. There's lessons to be learned, things to be understood about yourself. And it can either stunt your growth and you can let it stop you, or it can progress you further beyond anything you could have imagined. And that's what I really see. Like, divorce is really an opportunity to know yourself deeper and to expand and evolve and grow beyond that relationship.
I've got this is the part of the show where we do live radio where we don't actually know what's going to happen. So
Love it.
so Nathan says that we have somebody calling in. I assume it's a fan of yours and would like to talk. So we're going to go ahead. And Nathan, do you have any idea who's calling in?
Yeah, we got Antonio calling us.
Antonio, you're Antonio. This is one of those flying without a net kind of things that you do from time to time. So have your finger on the button. Antonio, you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We can hear you fine. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
And the reason for your call?
I wanted to talk to Robin.
Sorry, wrong show. Yeah, that show's all done for the day.
However, now Robin is also an intuitive, correct?
Yes.
Antonio, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Well, I'll tell you what, I have somebody who is also an intuitive on this show. It's kind of a sidelight, more so because that's not her focus, but she's very intuitive. So if you have a question, why don't you ask Dana?
Yeah, I'm open.
Okay. Well, I have been having trouble with hoarding, and I got help with that. I got rid of the fear of letting go of things. So I'm cleaning, decluttering, and mosquitoes have been attacking me. But it's not normal mosquitoes. It's like a swarm of mosquitoes.
Well, I'll tell you what. Since this is Positive Talk Radio, and we don't really get into that, so I'll tell you what. Why don't you call Robin? I think that she would be better suited to take this one for you.
Okay.
So thank you, Antonio,
Thanks,
for giving us a call. So there, what do you think about that?
Well, that was fun.
Yeah,
What
I know.
an adventure.
If you if you would like to give us a call and talk to Dana, you can do that.
Yeah, about relationships. Anything about
relationships
Yep.
and specifically divorce. And I've got a really important question to ask you in just a sec. But first, let me, Nathan, could you put out the numbers, please?
Sure, and I'll go ahead and put it on the screen as well. But our phone numbers to call in are 425-373-5527. Our toll free is also 888-298-5569. Again, 425-373-5527 or toll free 888-298-5569. Now we'll get you on the phone to speak with Dana Parker, a life coach who can answer any relationship question you may have.
Well said, my man. Well said. Dana, I wanted to ask you because I've worked with people that have been in grief. I've worked with people who've lost loved ones
Mhm.
and lost a significant other, and also people that have been divorced.
Mhm.
Which do you think is worse, or are they just different? The
Yeah.
loss of a loved one, the loss of a spouse, or
Mhm.
the divorce of a spouse?
Yeah. I think they're all really intensely emotional experiences, and depending on who you are and how how close you were to the person and all the things, that's very complex. But I think they all have their space and they all have their journey. And the journey is so specific. When you go through anything that's highly emotional, it's very specific and unique to the individual. And that's why it's important to be really open to possibilities, open to answers for yourself of how to move through that. And I would say the process is unique, but there are some key tools that really I think could help anyone and everyone through hard emotional times. So I would love to share one of my favorite tools if you want.
I would love for you to share a
Okay.
favorite tool.
It's actually really important. I've had this aha that really explains emotion. So we have all these judgments around emotions for each of us. We grew up being told these ideas about emotions, and we all have them. We all hold them, these negative judgments against emotions. And so it causes us to really stuff and push away our emotions, which actually creates buildup and creates oftentimes addictive behavior, doing things that we don't actually want to do, reactive behavior in areas that we don't want to. Maybe in our most important relationships, we're pushing people away even though we want love. And so to find ways to really understand your emotions and to process through that is vital. It is vital to our health and well-being. And so a big part of that is understanding your emotions, what you're feeling, and accepting them. And understanding that all emotions are acceptable. All. What you do with them does matter. What you choose to do with them, the outlet for them does matter for your well being. And so, understanding one of my favorite tools is the map of consciousness. The map of consciousness is a scale of emotions. And it really tells us in this map of consciousness that all emotions have a frequency or vibration. And you move up in the scale, and we have to move up through that scale of emotions in order to move through really hard things. So, for example, shame, guilt, powerlessness, that's all some of the lowest vibrating emotion we can feel as human beings as far as we have uh, words and frequency for. Anger is actually several steps above shame. Anger, to me, when somebody comes to me and is like, I'm so angry, I'm like, good, this is good. You're moving in the right direction. Yes, let's look at that. Let's channel that. Let's understand what that is and what's going on. All emotion actually, all it is these frequencies that actually light up different parts of ourselves to help us become aware of ourselves. I'm going to say that again because it's really, really important to understand this. You are not your emotions. You're not your thoughts. Those frequencies come in and they light up parts of you so that you can be more connected to yourself, so that you can understand yourself more. That's such powerful information because so many of us are over identifying or in complete denial of our emotions. And where does that leave us? That leaves us not understanding what our boundaries are, not understanding who we are, not understanding our purpose and why we're here, not understanding any of our reactive behaviors. And we're just throwing our emotions around at each other, hurting each other. Like, this is so vital for our world to continue in evolution, to continue moving up in frequency and vibration, is to understand and put emotions in their rightful place as part of our human experience and acceptable and okay.
I love that. I absolutely love that. By the way, if you're just tuning in, that there is Dana Parker, and she is a life coach and also a intuitive, and she's got a new program out to talk about divorce. And I'd like to. We need to take a quick break, and when we come back, I'm going to ask her a question about a divorce that happened to somebody who's really near and dear to my heart. As a matter of fact, they're sitting in the studio with me.
Mhm.
Okay, it may be me. So So we're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Positive Talk Radio on KKNW 1150 AM, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Do you need to boost your sales? Join our partnership program. Each quarter, we promote 10 partner businesses. What will you get? The company will produce one 30-second video for your business. Your website links on positivetalkradio.net and kmmedia.pro. One dedicated podcast or radio show per month. One video Instagram reel. One YouTube short. One 60-second clip for social media taken from your interview, and at least one commercial airplay per show. All podcast and video commercials are within the fabric of the show and will remain in the show forever. Visit kmmedia.pro to book a consultation today.
When you want to say more than words communicate, you can with flowers. Your custom boutique floral studio in Bothell, Washington is anaturaldesign.com, connecting you to nature through the language of flowers. Where your people are is where our flowers are beautiful. Your success is our goal.
For being our appreciated listener, you can use promo code PTR20 at checkout to receive 20% off your order.
anaturaldesign.com at your fingertips today.
We believe in the power of telling your stories. We want to help yours be seen and heard. At the Pacific Northwest Collaborative Magazine, our purpose is to connect you to your community. Let's begin by celebrating the accomplishments of local artists featured in this brand new digital magazine. Here, you can learn about opportunities to creatively come together and support our local community and neighbors through the gift of art and service. If your business or organization would like to take part in this magazine, message us on Instagram at pnw.collab. You can download our free digital magazine at KM Media Pro today.
Thank you to our dedicated fans. We are updating our live on-air schedule to make it super easy for you to hang out with us 5 days a week, Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We broadcast on YouTube, Facebook, and live on Fridays with Kixie 8:80 a.m. Seattle Live. You can find our library to binge all the podcast platforms. We can't wait to see you at 3 p.m. Monday through Friday, starting September 4th, Labor Day 2023.
And welcome back, everybody, to Positive Talk Radio. We have got a tremendous, dare I say, tremendous guest with us today. And she's actually been a co-host on the show. We've talked to Matthew Stapley. But first of all, I got to ask you, we have a magazine now. You didn't know that?
Wow, that is so cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, so if you go
That's
to, and it's
exciting.
free, and
Okay.
it's a local art type magazine, and if you go to kmmedia.pro, you can download it, and we're dropping another episode this week sometime. I don't know when, because I don't do that, but they do it. And we've also, I gotta tell you this, Dana,
Okay.
we've also got a pilot that we're in the middle of producing, a
Ooh.
28-minute pilot for Bloom TV that features Holly and a natural design. It is just,
Oh,
we've got the first scene is done. It is, I'm not allowed to show it to you, but the first scene is done, and it is spectacular. Off the air, I'll show it to you.
yeah, that's
Um,
exciting.
Yeah, so much is going on. We're very pleased, and I'm super pleased that you're here. And I have to ask you this, because it happens, and this is, I think, is kind of the unspoken thing that happens when there's a divorce.
Mhm.
And that is, at least in my case, because we were a couple for 24 years,
Mhm.
all of our friendships were based upon us being a couple.
Yeah.
And when we divorced, all those friends that seemed apparently they were closer to her than to me, because
Yeah.
they all left.
Mhm.
Every one of them left, and
Yeah.
they helped her move out. Matter of fact, one of them, when my kid was standing there as they were moving stuff out of the garage, this lady looked around and she said to my son, or to my ex-wife who was standing, and my son was there as well, said, "Boy, am I glad we don't have to clean up this mess." because all they did is take the stuff that they wanted, and she took the stuff, and then I haven't talked to any one of those people
Yeah.
in 15 years.
Yeah.
And and you want to talk about anger?
Mhm.
I know that feeling. I had
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, for
Is that
sure.
common?
Yeah, yeah, it's such a common experience, Kevin, for people when they get divorced to lose a lot of friendships. And that's part of I'm now almost 5 years out, and um and and it's just such a common experience of people who go through that. And for me, it was really unexpected. I, like you, it kind of surprised me. Like I didn't really know very many people who'd been through divorce, so I didn't know what to expect. I went in just doing what I felt really called to do. And so yeah, it was a different experience that I don't think that I was fully prepared for. And the thing that I'm so grateful for now, and there was a mourning process for sure from the divorce of, I mean, divorce challenges you to your core. I mean, we're talking your parenthood is changing, your financial future changes, your intimate relationship changes. These are core identity spaces for us as human beings that get challenged through a divorce. And this is why I get so passionate and feel so passionate about this program, and finally feel like it's time for me to create it and to step into this and actually create a space for people to come in to a program like this, because I'm out far enough where I feel like now I have some wisdom to see and to help other people through that. But yeah, that process is so normal. And what I want to say about anger is, anger, for particularly for men, anger is such a common experience, because that is one of the emotions that you guys feel that's acceptable to feel. And actually anger, I would say, and I was actually just last night talking to a man about this. I did a sound bath here in Salt Lake City, Utah, and there was a man that was talking to me about anger. And I said, well, you do understand anger is the bodyguard of sad, right? Anger is the bodyguard of sad. And so, yes, it's important to acknowledge that anger, but anger is usually surface and it's protecting your wounded sad. And so, when it shows up like that, it's important to honor and acknowledge that, but to get to the root, to honor that sadness, that will actually be real lasting change and healing. To honor that part that felt so deeply wounded and hurt. And those are the things that for me, I like to hold space for a man to go there. That's sacred space. That is sacred work. And any man that's brave enough to do it, man, please call me, please, because I will hold space for that and take you to that place, help you, guide you there, and walk through that so that you don't have to carry that anger around for years to come, because that is a burden in and of itself.
And that is something that we do.
Yeah.
And until we resolve it,
Yeah.
we tend to carry it with us, and it affects a lot of our relationships going forward.
Yes. And that's the part, this is where I get like, I start lighting up, because what I'm finding as I've been divorced now, and I've seen a lot of my friends get remarried, and they're repeating the same patterns. These are same patterns over and over and over, because they didn't take the time to understand that process of what they learned from the first relationship, and what their patterns were, what their core wounds are. And so they get into another relationship, they get married, and what should happen? But the same baggage pops up. This is such a common, and this is why the divorce rate for your second marriage is higher. This is one of the key reasons, from my opinion, that it's higher, is because now both people are not only bringing childhood baggage, but they're also bringing previous relationship baggage into the relationship, and they don't know how to manage that or understand what it is. They just know they're triggering the hell out of each other. And so they just know they're triggering each other and they don't know what to do about it. And they're pointing the finger at the other person, right? So the idea of the program and what I've created is how to understand your own triggers. That is a key part. And we actually will spend quite a bit of time of understanding your own triggers and your own baggage. So when you go into a relationship, your eyes are open about yourself. and you're not pointing the finger or projecting on the other person, you're fully responsible. Now, it doesn't mean you have to be fully healed, because I don't believe we're ever arrived at fully healed. Life will always challenge different parts of us and challenge us. But to have these foundational tools is life-changing. Like, your relationships will be different. You will attract different. And I'm living proof of that. I have attracted very different than what I had before, in lots of ways opposite. And I'm into my life, and it's beautiful. And the most beautiful, profound, like, surprising part, Kevin, is as I've been in this relationship for over 2 years now, he brings out different parts of me that I'm like, whoa, I did not ever experience that ever in my previous relationship. This is a new part of me that I have to learn to love, because I didn't know that that was in there. Like, if you would have asked me, this is fascinating. If you would have asked me 2 or 3 years ago if I experienced a lot of control or pride, I'd be like, no, I don't think that's something I really struggle with. And now I'm like, oh, I see it. It comes out in this relationship, and I have the tools. This is the beautiful thing. I'm aware enough that I have the tools to be like, oh, I need a minute, because I gotta go let this emotion process, and then look at what just happened, because I can sense and feel that that was really controlling and that did not feel good to you. So I'm gonna go take a break, and I'll be back when I'm ready. And that transforms a relationship. Literally, in the last 2 weeks, Jeremy said to me, he said, one of the things I love the very most about you is I feel safe, feel emotionally safe. And it just warmed my whole heart to be able to have that space and to create that for another human, to feel safe, to make mistakes, safe to be themselves. And it's a very soul fulfilling experience to be living in a new type of relationship.
And that is incredibly deep,
Yeah.
because there aren't very many relationships that I'm aware of that two people allow each other to be themselves 100% of the time and accept them for who they really are.
Yes.
And that can build into a phenomenal relationship. Um, it's I don't know that I've ever had a deep relationship like that. And I think there's a lot of folks that are in my boat that would say, no,
I don't know if that exists. Right. Right.
exactly.
And I do want to say this. We're not always there. We just know that that's our end outcome, that that's where we're going to land. And whatever we got to learn to land there, that's our commitment. But we're not always there. We're not always in that place where you have full permission and it's all sunshine and rainbows and we work through every conflict with just this, oh, I'm going to take a break, like I just said. No, sometimes it explodes. We're both very passionate people. We both have a very strong sense of self. And sometimes it explodes, and then we have to come back and we have to say, I'm sorry for my part. And we got to work through that, and we got to navigate that together, and we got to be patient for each other's weaknesses. But the reality is, we know where we're going to land. We know where we want to end. And the idea is to get there and to move to that and to be patient with the process, because we're both learning new things. We're learning new things about ourselves, about relationships. We're just learning all these new things together.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
Now, because this is my show and I get to have therapy sessions right on the air with people,
Yes.
I'd like you to tell me, if I were to come into your office
Mhm.
and I were to say, and to give you the background, I was married for 24 years. I've been divorced for 15 years. I haven't had a relationship since.
Mhm.
At least a deep romantic relationship,
Mhm.
because I don't, well, and I don't really know why, but I just haven't. But the other day I had a good friend of mine
Mhm.
that said something to me that triggered me in, like,
Yeah.
a really big way, and
Okay.
I couldn't figure out, and I'm still working through it. But she all she did was make the statement, because I was trying to explain myself, and all she did was say, "I don't care."
Mm.
And that triggered me in a huge way. "What do you mean you don't care? You don't care about," and it became a really big deal. But now that I'm sitting here talking to you and reliving going through my divorce, I felt the same trigger then because nobody cared then. And that
Mm.
so when that came up again, so how would you help someone like me get through that? I mean, am I close? I mean, are those two things related?
Absolutely. So great to connect those things. And I would even dare say that it probably goes back to some core wounds and core things around childhood, not feeling like you were cared for, not feeling like people really cared and cultivated that care for you or about you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, there is that.
Yeah, there's that too. So here's the beautiful thing. What we do is we want other people to show up in our lives and really show us the things that we desired so much and wanted so much in our childhood. Meaning, you want people to show up and show that they care, so that it satisfies that wound in you. And but the thing that is the trick here. The trick is no amount of anyone else's validation or care will fill that wound or hole for you.
Say
Only
that
you
again.
can.
Say that
No
again.
one else's care or concern or anything will fill that wound for you. Only you can. Only your own love and validation can. That's it. And that's the hard part of this kind of work, but it's soul satisfying. Like when people are like, let's get into like some people call it shadow work. Let's get into the hard stuff. I'm like, yes, because I know the trick is that those are the places that are calling for my own love. Really, the reality is, Kevin, you deserve to start saying, well, I care about what I have to say. I care about those things, and that's enough for me. And then people start showing up too that will show that they care. But it's important that you don't reject that or push that out. When someone shows that they care, fully receive it. Fully receive it, because you deserve other people to show up like that for you too. Yes. And if you don't feel that, be like, ooh, that hurt. I'm just gonna I'm going to go back to my house and I'm just going to take time and just tell myself. And trust me, I know it sounds a little bit cheesy, but this works in rewiring your body and brain. This works. Placing your hand on your heart actually engages your parasympathetic nervous system, which helps calm the body and bring peace to the body and signal safety to the body. That's what your body wants to know. Is it safe to feel this? Is it safe to be okay that I'm feeling this emotion? And all this is just a little wound, little you saying, hey, I did not feel cared for at all. I didn't feel like people cared and concerned for me as a child. And that's all this is. And I felt that in my marriage, and I felt that from other women. Maybe it's directly connected to women, maybe it's anyone in general. But taking time to take deep breaths and relax your body, placing your hand on your heart, because what that does is when you relax your body, you're actually signaling to your body, we can let go. This isn't true. You can let go of this. And the most fascinating thing, because I've spent 14 years doing a lot of different work. I've been trained in hypnosis for several years. I understand. And for years, I've been letting things go, pulling it out, letting it go, pulling it out, letting. No, this is the trick, is to bring your own love and compassion to that part of you. And it lets go of you, Kevin. It lets go of you. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to push it away. All you have to do is like a good buddy, put your arm around that little you, like you would any person, like you would me, like you did me. You did that for me. You were that kind of friend for me when I needed that. And you do that for so many people, and doing that for you in times where it's just you with you, it really will release itself. And then when somebody says, I don't care in the future, you can be like, oh, cool. Well, I really care. I want to find somebody to talk to that cares with me, because this is more fun to talk to people who care about things that I care about.
Well, you
And
know
then
what I mean?
it's lighter.
And yeah, and one of the things that in the work that I've done with myself,
Mhm.
And that is, nor in the olden days, I would have just absorbed it and would have just made up a story about it
Yeah.
and just left it there.
Yep.
And then that would affect the relationship I had with that
Yep.
individual. But in this particular case, that relationship is too important to me. And
Yes.
so I had a conversation. I put
Yeah.
on my big boy pants and I had a conversation and I said, I just want you to know that when you said that to me, it hurt.
Actually really hurt.
It
Yeah.
it hurt me, and it turned out that it was a throwaway, and that's the thing that kinda kills me, is that most of the time when that happens, when we get triggered by something, all it is a throwaway line that somebody else does
It's
because
true.
they don't wanna get into the conversation or they don't have time. In her case, she had another job to do, and so she had to go, and it was like she didn't wanna take the time to go into it at that particular moment and stuff, but
Yeah.
we take it in a completely different way, and most of the time, they don't even remember it.
Right. Right. And we're replaying it over and over and over because it hurt. And those are the greatest gifts. Those moments when we're replaying things over and over and over and they're our big triggers, those are the greatest moments of gifts for ourself. To bring us again, your heightened emotions bring you back to you, to feeling, to being human, to being here. They really are what make you alive is your emotions. They're teaching you something about you. Your emotions, that's trying to say, "Hey Kevin, I have something to teach you. Hey Kevin, I have something to teach you. If you'll just talk to me for just a minute, even just 5 minutes. Do you have 5 minutes of your time?" That's all
Y
that triggered emotions asking for. Just, "Do you have 5 minutes just to get curious with me, just to be with me, just to put your arm around me and just hear me for a minute?" Because Kevin, you even speaking and going into that space where you're like, I care too much about this relationship to just let it go by. That's powerful because that's breaking the pattern too. The power, and there's so much power in saying, "Hey, just so you're aware that hurt." Because little you probably couldn't do that. Little you probably
Oh,
couldn't
no.
have the words to do that because then you'd get in more trouble. So now you're breaking that pattern and showing up for yourself better, which is empowering also. The trick is to not do that when you're really triggered, though, for anyone listening. Because if you stand up for yourself, quote unquote, stand up for yourself when you're really emotional and triggered, you're going to say things that you don't mean that will actually hurt the other person.
And a lot of times you do that
You do.
intentionally.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
"You hurt
And
me, so I'm gonna hurt you
yeah,
back,
I'm going to hurt you
daggone it."
back. And I'm just going to tell you what for. And I'm going to do it all in the name of I'm standing up for myself.
Yeah,
And,
and
and
don't
that's,
wear those jeans anymore because you look
yeah.
fat in them.
Yeah. Right. And that's not helpful either. So it's again coming back to that balanced place, letting the emotion ride because emotions are like waves. They come in and they move out. If you've ever experienced emotion, everyone who actually thinks about it, if you've experienced emotion, it comes in and it moves out. Always. Always. It comes in and it moves out. Sometimes it gets stuck. Let's be honest, it does get stuck. Sometimes it comes in, we stuff it and it sticks. So those are the two options. And it comes and it goes. We don't stay in that emotion forever. And that's what I'm saying by wave. The hope is it'll go out, but riding that wave and then speaking from a more calm, logical place. Because when you're emotional, your logical brain turns off, and you're basically emotionally hijacked, is what I call it, and you're not logical thinking. And so that's the time to go take some deep breaths. Even just 2 minutes of breathing actually can calm your whole body and your whole system down, bring back on your logical brain. 2 minutes. We all can take 2 minutes.
We got 2 minutes, we
Yeah.
can do that. By the way, you are sensational. You know
Thank
that?
you.
And by the way, Nathan, and I didn't hardly ever do this, but Nathan, we're dispensing with the, commercial break because I wanna continue this conversation. It is so cool, and it's so helpful to me and to many other people who are like me,
Yeah.
or not like me, if it 'cause, we're human beings.
Yes. And although all the experiences are dynamic and different, the emotions actually are where we can connect the most if we can get to those. Because we all experience those emotions. We all experience grief. We all experience pain. We all experience sadness. Every one of us. Through our
Isn't
marriages, our divorces, all of that.
It's amazing to me because you're right. I was thinking back to my high school days,
Mhm.
and the kids that got together in high school, and then how many of them? I think if you were to do a statistical analysis of how many kids that got together in high school and then got married right after high school, how many of them actually stayed together?
Mhm.
In my world, I know of two,
Yeah.
and everybody else that I know of has been married multiple times
Yeah.
because
And
they want to get it right.
yeah, and this is really why the work I'm doing I feel is so important and impactful. And this is why I've actually settled into this is my focus. This year, this is my focus. This is what I'm determined to create, a space where people can transform and really have the relationships they desire through their transformation. Have high quality relationships where there's accountability, there's emotional accountability, there's understanding of each other, there's understanding of self, there's a lot of self-compassion and self-love because we all know relationships bring the worst parts of ourselves out. And so self-compassion is vital. Vital. Even if you're like me and you've been doing this emotional intelligence work for years, it's still vital for me too. It's still an important thing to circle back to for me too.
Well, just because you've done a lot of work doesn't mean that there's things there that are going to trigger you.
Yeah.
But what you have is you've got this little toolkit
Yep.
that you can go to that says, "Okay, I got triggered. Let's figure out why
Yep.
I got triggered," and
Yep.
then you can make it a reasonable conclusion and get through with it. Because I think you and your significant other are darling individuals, and
We
you
are.
can see the love radiating between you.
Yeah. It's true. People stop us on the streets all the time, actually. They do. They literally stop us in Costco like, "You guys," and I'm like, "I know. It's good, huh? I feel it." I'm feeling it. Are you feeling it? 'Cause I'm feeling it. It's good. Good connection.
It was funny. There was a couple of I live in a 55 plus community, and a couple of older folks were walking along, and they were laughing and
Yeah.
smiling and stuff. And a gal walked up to them and said, "That is so nice. That how long have you guys been together?" And they said, "Oh, we're not together at all. We're just friends." And it was like,
Yep.
how many times? This kills me. How many times have you looked in a car? Like I look in cars all the time, and when like there's a man and a woman there, and they appear to be like husband and wife, or they're having a relationship, and they're not smiling, and they're not talking, and they're
True.
frowning, or they're just looking at their phone, and they're not communicating with each other. What a waste! What
It's
a
very
waste!
true. It's very true. Yeah, our attention is our greatest currency right now. Our attention and our presence. That's something
Oh,
I
that's a bumper sticker right there.
yeah, it's our greatest currency is attention and presence. That's what I've taken into motherhood the last several months and into my relationship. My presence and attention is the greatest currency.
And not only all of that, see, I know your history a little bit, and I can tell you that you have, between you and your significant other, you have a baseball team.
We do. We have 10.
So
Seesaw.
you actually have a starting pitcher and a relief pitcher.
All of it. Yep, we sure do. And all the personalities to prove it.
I can't imagine having 10 person, especially they're all male and they're all teenagers, or they're
Right. Well, 9 of the 10 are male. That's true.
yeah. Oh, they're
We'll have quite
that,
the
that,
influx of women in the near
that poor
future.
girl. She's like, how did I get all this um
She handles it like a champ. She's incredible. She's this little mama duck for all of them.
So she probably has them all wrapped around her little
Oh,
finger.
yeah. She's incredible. She's probably her and her husband are some of our best friends.
Oh, that is just awesome.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Dana Parker. If somebody wants to work with you, how do they
Yeah.
get a hold of you?
Yeah, innerworldmovement.com. You can go on there, and on there on the events page, I should have I have a retreat coming up, women's retreat that's going to be happening in March that you can sign up for, and we have payment plan options. And then I have this program that we're starting. The first call will start on Tuesday, October 17th. and then we'll just keep going from there, and anyone can join at any time. And so it's an evergreen version of this course. The modules, there'll be online modules that people will participate in, and then live calls twice a month with me, which it's magic. Like, this is where my genius is. So when people get on a call with me, I can just feel what needs to be said, what needs to happen, what are the best next steps for people. And the best part about what I've created and what I love about my particular coaching is we talk about cool ideas, but we're putting it into practice. This is about embodying change. This is about embodying change and doing something to get different results. And so you can expect, if you do this work, you can expect that you'll see changes in the type of relationships you're attracting and who you are, your own inner confidence, and your awareness of your own weaknesses, so that you can own those things with accountability and honesty and openness, so that they don't have to rule your next relationship, or your next relationship they're already in. So if anyone's in a relationship, in their second or third relationship, this course is for you. Absolutely. And if you're in the midst of divorce, this course is for you. This program is for you. And so I invite you to get on there. You can set up a discovery call on my calendar. Get on my calendar and let's just talk. Let's just connect. See if it's for you. And right now this is the beta launch, and so it's the best time to get in.
Perfect. Dana, I've done 600 Positive Talk radio shows now. I'm over 600. And I've also did my Independence Report, and I also did Positive Talk on the radio. I've conducted I did the math one day. I've conducted well over 2,000 interviews
Oh my God.
in my time with lots of life coaches, lots of people. You are, without a doubt, one of the most engaging, thought-provoking people that I know, and I value your friendship greatly. You are an amazing woman.
Thank you.
And I know your history.
Yeah.
So that makes you even more amazing to me.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes. This is not just head knowledge. This is I've lived this knowledge. That's what this program is. I've lived this. Here's what I learned. Here's the wisdom. And let me just love you and hold a nurturing space as you walk that journey.
And by the way, she is also, when you're talking to her, there's a real good chance at one point in the conversation, she's going to tear up because she is so empathetic.
I just love so big. That's why it's such a nurturing place. That's one of the gifts that I'm bringing to the table that I think is going to be so supportive for people going through this process, because it is heart-wrenching and painful, and people deserve a community and a space that is so loving and nurturing through that process. Anyone and everyone who's going through divorce, or if you know someone who's going through divorce, please send them my way. Please send them to this community. They deserve support from people who get it, but people who are moving forward into a new life, a life that they deserve, a life with happiness and positive relationships. They deserve that, and their children deserve that, their loved ones deserve that. Bring them my way, and I'll nurture them, I'll care for them, and I'll teach them real lasting tools.
And she was tearing up right there, just so you know.
It's true.
Because, when you're emotional about it, not because you have any doubt about it, but because you are so committed to it.
Committed.
And you've seen
whole heart.
Yes, and you've seen the results of that.
Yep.
So ladies and gentlemen, she has Positive Talk Radio's highest degree of approval rating as a coach can have. So she's remarkable, and I hope that you'll take advantage of this and go to innerworldmovement.com, book a meeting with her. It can quite literally change your life.
Yep, it will.
Yeah. And so we've got about 2 minutes left in the show, my dear. So I'm going to step aside, and I want you to tell our audience anything that you think that is beneficial to them.
Yeah. I would say be so gentle and kind to yourself, or whoever you are, whoever's listening. Be gentle and kind to your human experience. Be gentle and kind to your emotions. Bring awareness to those. Like, even if you just sit and just in kindness, validate yourself, love yourself, bring that self-compassion, it will transform your life. That one thing, if you could learn how to do that. And at first it might feel awkward. At first it might feel weird because you're not used to self-love. But if you can do that and practice that and just take some deep breaths, even for 2 minutes in a day, and just really love yourself and appreciate how far you've come in your human experience and human journey, and how far you have to go. That's okay too. We all do. You will see transformation happen in your life and how you treat other people and how you show up for other people. And there's a profound ripple effect from that one tool. So take that and utilize that.
And I honestly believe that if you talk to Dana, you're going to stop dating the same guy in a different suit.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Which I've used that for 20 years. It's still relevant today.
It is. It absolutely is. It's why I created the program. Stop dating the guy in the same suit. Okay.
Treat each other with respect, with kindness, take care of each other. Dana Parker, Inner World Movement is where you need to go, innerworldmovement.com. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I had to track you down, but you know what? The timing, I know it's weird, but the timing was perfect, as usual.
Yep.
So I want to thank you for being here, and go to Inner World Movement. It will do you good. And we're going to be back at 3:00 with another fabulous Positive Talk radio show on Kixie, 880 AM. So, by the way, be kind to one another, because each other's all we've got. See you at 3 on Kixie.